Hello boys and girls, Ant here, and today we're going to talk about that Nintendo Switch presentation and get me about 15 content ID claims. Thanks Nintendo. Maybe we should play Chains of Love. Anyway, basically it's going to be quite informal. This isn't scripted. I've made a list of all the things that we saw at the Switch event, and I'll go through them. I've got it all here on paper. You might hear dogs and kids screaming outside. I've been dealing with that all day. I've been trying to record the next Mellow Gaming Recommends and it's not happened at all. Not at all. Anyway, here's where we go. So the show started off with an overview of the console, showing you all the various things like the Joy-Con controllers with their how you can play like two players with the left and right controller parts. We've seen that in the previous video thing they did a while ago. There was the IR blaster thing on there which can sense distance and movement and stuff like that, which is something Laura Kate Dale leaked ages ago, along with the HD Rumble thing. Another thing she got right. Congrats to Laura Kate. She got a load of stuff right. The only thing she got wrong was the stuff she got from this game source, which was wrong. Gamers in the Store game. And there was a bunch of stuff which will likely not be announced until E3 anyway, because they're all Q2. Most of this stuff was focused on the launch period, which I'm guessing they're counting as from March 3rd, which was the release date, through to summer. The pricing as well, they announced like the Japanese price was like 29,980 yen, I believe. I'll put it on the screen, you'll know for sure. The American price was $299. Apparently in Canada it's 399 Canadian dollars. Obviously Canadian dollars are almost as worthless as Australian dollars now. I guess I'm just joking, I don't know anything about worth of money, just that British money is useless. Which brings me to British money. The Switch in the UK, they allow stores to set the prices for these, and it seems as though the UK price is going to be around £280, which is what I've seen from Game and places so far, like I think Amazon as well. No packing games, which is a bit worrying. I was hoping they would chuck in something like Mario Maker or Splatoon with the console. That would have been like a killer app to kick the console off with, but they haven't. Yeah. First game they showed was 1-2 Switch, which looks like a sort of WarioWare-esque quick play sort of game. Also reminds me a hell of a lot like Johann Sebastian Joust, which was a game that was around years ago for PlayStation. It wasn't actually sold on PlayStation. I think you had to play it using Move controllers and some workaround stuff. It's a pretty cool game where you had to sort of move around and joust, no screen involved, which is sort of the idea of 1-2 Switch, which seems to be all like quick little games. There's a game where you milk a cow. Don't know what Nintendo are thinking there, but hey, I'm sure it'll have a bunch of people that love it. That seems like the game that should have been the packing game, actually. Something like that. Arms, which looks stupid, could have easily have been a Punch-Out game, but Nintendo just, didn't do that. They could have made this some bizarre Punch-Out spin-off, but nah. It's a sort of boxing game where you got characters with big springy arms, and the trailer seemed to show a guy who looked like Mason Ryan, former WWE wrestler, fighting against Gogo Yubari or something from, an anime schoolgirl. Anyway, it looked alright. Apparently some people have been playing it at the events today and they're quite enjoying it. Splatoon 2 was announced. Everyone was expecting Splatoon to be a Wii U port, but this looks like it's an entirely new game. I'm hoping that they're going to focus a lot more on multiplayer and support it for a long time, because that's the one other thing Nintendo are going to be charging for online play after a few months. It was found out afterwards that every month you pay for the online pay, you get a free NES or SNES game, and some of the SNES games are going to have online multiplayer, which is pretty awesome. There was Super Mario Odyssey, which looks cool but weird. Mario's going to all sorts of different worlds and having adventures and stuff. Those kids are making a lot of noise outside, and the dog. Sorry about that. But yeah, Mario goes to all sorts of worlds. He goes to what's meant to be like the real world, which confirms Mario's not human, I guess. It's the city called New Donk City, which is got to be a Donkey Kong reference. I think one of the streets had a name on it, like Cranky Street or something like that. But yeah, it's a Mario game, isn't it? It's going to be a big hit. Lots of star collecting and stuff. Looks like it's a much more open world sort of game. Like, I imagine what they're going to do is they're going to have the levels be like Delfino Plaza in Mario Sunshine, like the whole Delfino Island type thing, as if you could just run around the whole thing and just complete the task in whatever order you wanted. Xenoblade 2 was announced from Monolith, which was pretty awesome. The first Xenoblade Chronicles game is great. I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles X, which was the sort of... It's a sequel, but it's kind of set in a different world. And apparently the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is going to be a direct sequel to the first one, from what I've read. It looks lovely, looks really pretty. It's got like a slightly steampunky look to it, this one. and I'm all for that. Those games are great. Like the first one especially is amazing. Very quickly they announced Fire Emblem Warriors, but because it was a Japanese event, the title was in Japanese, and I don't think people got what it was because it didn't show much of anything. It just showed some swords and like Fire Emblem symbols, which Fire Emblem fans will recognise, you know, but the more casual gamers probably won't. But that's going to be a sort of Dynasty Warriors-esque style thing. Speaking of, Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 is coming to the Switch, along with Dragon Quest 10 and 11. Hopefully 10 and 11 aren't going to be like a mess. Dragon Quest games have kind of gone a bit off the rails since Dragon Quest 8, I think. Dragon Quest 10 was an online one. Dragon Quest 11 I'm hoping will be a proper Dragon Quest game. A Shin Megami Tensei game was announced by Atlus, which they didn't show much of. It was just basically a little teaser thing. Apparently it's really early in development. I'm looking forward to that because I like me some Shin Megami Tensei and Persona and stuff like that, and they're sort of ramping them up now. Persona's more well known than Shin Megami Tensei is, but Shin Megami Tensei is still some good shizzle. There was a thing called Project Octopath Traveler, which looks really pretty. It's like a sort of side-on sprite art based thing with really nice graphical effects and stuff. I found out earlier that it's being made by the guys who made Bravely Default, which, you know, that's a really good Nintendo DS RPG. It looks damn pretty. So I'm going in there. It looks like they've taken a SNES game and like moved down into a side-on 2D view. You know, moving through 3D environments with 2D graphics. Looks really cool. There's like the 4000th release of Skyrim. Not the HD remastered version. It's just a regular version, which is kind of odd. It's got like the same lighting and stuff that the original version had. I imagine that'll come with like, you know, DLC and stuff like that. That'd be nice, but Skyrim again, yeah. Suda51 came on stage and gave one of these really vague things where he's like, Travis Touchdown's going to be in a game we're making. We don't know what the game is yet. I'm hoping he's going to make something mental because he's Suda51. That's what he does. I mean, notice they were very, you know, making sure they didn't say it was No More Heroes 3. I almost said No Man's Sky. Yeah, they made sure it wasn't No More Heroes 3. So something else. I was actually kind of expecting them to announce that Travis Touchdown was going to be a character in a Smash Brothers game or something. That'd be pretty. If Suda51 was making a Smash Brothers game, that'd be mental. That'd be weird. Then EA came out on stage and we all took a nap. They did like a video show reel showing a whole bunch of games, and if you slow it down a lot, you might be able to see some of them. But there was stuff in there. There was an Ultra Street Fighter 2, which is basically a new version of that old HD Street Fighter 2 remake that was on Xbox 360 years ago. But this one has Evil Ryu and Violent Ken and stuff, and a couple of new things. And you can switch the graphics back and forth from the HD version to the 2D version, apparently. Best thing in there was Disgaea 5. I'm super happy about that. There's a complete edition. The version of Disgaea 5 I own is on PlayStation 4, is the download version. So I would like a box copy, and this one's going to have all the DLC. It's going to have some little trinkets and stuff in there, soundtrack CDs, a artwork book, and there's an extra mystery thing, according to the website. I'll try and find a picture of that. They then announced that they went through all the product configurations, how it's going to be released, and basically what's quite good is they're not releasing two versions of the console. It's not going to be like the standard version, which is the shit version you don't want, and then the premium version, which is the one you really want. They're both going to be the same. The only difference is the little Joy-Con controllers are going to be different colours. One thing worth noting, though, that they don't really go into on that, it's only got 32GB internal memory, which isn't much, really. That's not a massive amount of space. I mean, the games aren't installing, as far as we know. They're on little SD cards, so they shouldn't need to. But yeah, no internal storage is a little bit... 32GB internal storage is a bit stingy. And it's going to take SDXC memory cards, which should mean that it'll only be able to do up to 128GB of expansion. And obviously you can't have a hard drive attached to it because you need to be able to pick up the Switch. And if you pick up the Switch, the hard drive would have to be attached to it. And then you'd have to have a hard drive dangling off the edge of your Switch, wouldn't you? Fair enough. But yeah, it's interesting that it's so limited. They haven't learnt, have they? ProPad is sold separately. The console's going to come with one of the grip controller things, which apparently everyone says feels really nice to use. There's people going to events today which I wish I could. I can't go to those things. There was a little video bit where they had the head of Nintendo Europe, whose name I forget, and he speaks really broken English, and he's fine, but because I was listening to Japanese people and people dubbing it over, I wasn't paying much attention to him, because for a moment I thought someone was gonna, translate. That translator as well, he was struggling, one of them. He really struggled with Suda51. And then Reggie came out and sounded a lot like Gujon John, which, just go to Digitizer 2000's page and look for anything to do with Gujon John. Release date again, March the 3rd. Seems to be worldwide, everywhere. Well, seems to be at least America, Canada, Japan, and some European areas, which means UK, and the important ones, France maybe. Then they finally show Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which looks amazing, looks really nice. I'm still unsure if I can afford a Nintendo Switch at release date, so I might end up buying that for the Wii U and maybe doing a video of the Wii U version if that's something people would be interested in. I want to play it. I'd have to switch my Wii U on again though, so that's a bit, yeah. It looks like it's a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time, or at least it's because we know the story of Legend of Zelda is that there's a Link every few hundred years that, every time Ganon comes back there will be this destined hero who's there to defeat him. And it looks like, based on things that are said during the trailer and the little hints that there's a Deku Tree and stuff like that, that this is something set after Ocarina of Time. It's very, it seems to be definitely making direct references to Ocarina of Time a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you definitely see the Goron leader, who looks like the same guy. He's dancing around and stuff, but he's got a big white beard. But he's done in the same style as Ocarina of Time. But there was also a little tree sprite, which were they they weren't the Kokiri, were they, in Wind Waker? So maybe it's set between those two. Maybe it's like a bridging the gap thing. But it looks great. Looks like there's big old monsters to fight in it. Open world environments that we know about. It's got a bit of survival elements to it. It looks like they're kind of doing, the original Zelda game was completely freeform. You could pretty much go anywhere right from the start. There wasn't much gated off from you, and it looks like they're going more in that direction. But yeah, overall, they could have done a little better, I think. They kind of sort of fluffed it a little bit in terms of big games. They didn't show Mario Odyssey first, so they didn't start off with a big thing. And then they didn't show Zelda until right at the end. And there wasn't much huge in between. Splatoon was in there, but Splatoon's still quite sort of young. And this is only the second one. We don't know if it's going to be more of the same. If they're showing off something like Smash Brothers or a new Mario Kart. There's a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe coming out. If they showed a new Mario Kart or Smash Brothers, that probably would have elevated it a fair bit. And as it stands, there's only 1-2 Switch in the Zelda game at launch, which is a bit odd. I wouldn't expect the Mario game at launch, but I would have thought that ARMS and Splatoon 2, surely. Splatoon 2 doesn't look like it's a completely new thing. It looks like they're going to reuse stages from the previous game. But yeah, overall, it looks alright. I would buy one if I think I could afford it, but I'm currently thinking I won't be able to, because it's 280 quid. I thought, the rumours were it was going to be more 200 or 250, that there was going to be two models, and I was going to go for the cheapest one I could get, the shitty model that no one should get, and then, buy upgrades for it. But, yeah, it looks like a good console, but I'm sold on it. I just can't afford it, so that's where I'm sat. Maybe when we get to a little later in the year, I can try and finagle some dollars and buy myself one. It would be nice to have one for when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe comes out, because that's looking great. It's got Splatoon cars and Splatoon battle maps, which they should have shown during the show. Even if it wasn't a new Mario Kart, they should have gone, hey, here's Mario Kart 8 with a battle mode now, because it's what people wanted originally. That's my Nintendo Switch thoughts. Tell me what you think of it in the comments, and if you think it's a cool thing or not. You might not, some people don't, some people just don't like Nintendo stuff, and I'm sure there's someone right now writing an article about how Nintendo's failing and falling apart, because that doesn't happen every 5 minutes. And Nintendo have enough money to fail forever. They could keep failing and it wouldn't affect them. They can just keep making stuff. But yeah, it looks great. Little things they didn't announce through the show as well. I mentioned earlier the virtual console games on the SNES will have online play on some of them, which is pretty awesome. Super Bomberman R wasn't, I don't think it was even in the show reel, I'll have to check back, but Super Bomberman R was on the event, and that looks pretty cool. New Bomberman game, economy of making a game. They only seem to make really small games now, and pachinko machines. They're dead. But yeah, there wasn't much else I don't think they covered. They pretty much showed all the things. There was Puyo Puyo Tetris, which is out in Xbox One, I think in Japan, I think already, if I remember rightly, and it's coming out here later. But thanks, plane. There's a plane. But yeah, Puyo Puyo Tetris is something that I'll buy. This looks like it's going to have games that will remind me of like a couple of generations ago, the sort of stuff I used to buy. Like having Puyo Puyo Fever in a new Bomberman game. That's great to me. But yeah, it's looking decent. There's a lot of recycled stuff coming along, like Shovel Knight's going to be on it, and it's going to be split up into 3 parts apparently. But they're going to have a thing where if you own the Wii U version, you'll be able to transfer over. So that'll be interesting to see if you can transfer virtual console purchases from the Wii U to the Switch, because that'll be interesting, because I've got some DS ones and stuff like that. But overall, I think it looks good. Thanks for listening, watching the video that I've edited together. It probably looks a mess. I'm going to try and get the next Mellow Gaming Recommends video recorded. That's taking its time. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.